Disaster risk reduction knowledge of senior high school students, basis for a proposed information, education, and communication (IEC) materials. An action research by Mr. Marvin Moraleja, the school DRRM coordinator. Reducing disaster risks confronting the education sector is paramount to the achievement of the Department of Education's DEP outcomes, namely, access, quality, and governance. As such, the department, as a member of the National Disaster Risk Reduction and Management Council (NDRRMC), has been building the resilience of education by advancing school safety. In accordance with this thrust, DEP has created the comprehensive DRRM in Basic Education Framework, which underscores the following three pillars or areas of focus. 1. Safe learning facilities. 2. School disaster management. 3. DRR in education. The ongoing implementation of these pillars is aligned with DepEd's commitment to the four thematic areas of the Philippine DRRM Act of 2010, otherwise known as RA 10121. These areas are prevention and mitigation, preparedness, response, recovery and rehabilitation. With the provisions of DRRM Act, comprehensive and integrated knowledge building about disaster education is intensified among students under the K-12 education program. The youth are empowered to be proactive members of community on DRR and sustainable development. It is relevant and significant to assess the capacity of students on DRR to ensure that the senior high school education of the K-12 curriculum is substantial on the culture of safety and resilience toward disaster risks. Therefore, this study was conceptualized to determine the DRR knowledge of grade 11 and 12 students in Natalia V. Ramos Memorial Integrated School. Specifically, it aimed to assess the disaster-related knowledge, preparedness and readiness, adaptation, awareness, and risk perception of senior high school students. Descriptive research design and researcher-made questionnaire was utilized to gather the necessary data. Responses of senior high students were assessed using the 4-point Likert scale. There is no sampling technique in the study since 120 senior high school students are the total population of senior high students in Natalia V. Ramos Memorial Integrated School in Batangas City served as the respondents. A survey questionnaire was adopted by the researchers from the study of Tuladhar et al. The survey questionnaire from this study is a validated data collection tool based from different research studies and literature in investigating DRR knowledge. The respondents answered 20 questions that were categorized into 5. Table 1 shows the mean percentage of each response option of grade 11 and grade 12 students of Natalia V. Ramos Memorial Integrated School on disaster-related knowledge. Out of 120 student respondents, 40% disagree or find it unclear when a disaster will happen, followed by 30% strongly disagree or do not know when a disaster will happen. Majority of the students or 37% agree that there is no prevention for the occurrence of disaster. On the other hand, there is a high percentage of students or 80% who strongly agree that they have been participants in a DRR seminar and training. Table 2 shows that majority of the senior high school students or 38% disagree or unclear in the significance of sharing knowledge and experiences of disaster. On the other hand, 34% of the senior high school students recognize the importance of making conversations about disasters with family members, neighbors, relatives, friends, and colleagues. Likewise, 41% of the senior high students know that the government is ready to provide assistance after disaster. Majority of the senior high students or 33% disagree or not confident that reconstruction activities can be implemented after disaster. However, 30% of the students gain enough knowledge about disasters from experts who work or conduct activities for disaster reduction and management. Table 3 shows the mean percentage of each response option of senior high school students on disaster adaptation. Majority of the senior high school students or 45% strongly agree that they are aware of the shelter areas or evacuation centers, and open spaces in case of a disaster. In addition, 37% of the senior high school students are aware about which government institution needs to be coordinated and contacted with after disaster. Majority or 57% of the senior high school students are informed about disaster-prone areas. Likewise, 37% of the senior high school students are obtained sufficient information about disaster adaptation from the local government or from NGOs. Table 4 shows the mean percentage of each response option on disaster awareness. Majority of the senior high school students or 47% strongly agree that they are actively participate for disaster awareness campaign. On the other hand, 37% of the senior high school students are not prepared with emergency kits and bags in case of disaster. Likewise, majority of the senior high school students or 35% do not prioritize awareness in the local, regional, and national level. In addition, 46% of the senior high school students are not aware on the importance of building or infrastructure retrofitting. Table 5 shows that the highest percentages of students, 48%, have not perceived that large-scale disasters will definitely happen in the next 10 years. On the other hand, most of the students or 33% have perceived on the safety of their localities or areas. Same trend was also observed regarding their perception about earthquake-resistant structures such as their houses and other buildings. The responses of grade 11 and grade 12 students of Natalia V. Ramos Memorial Integrated School in this study reflect how K-12 curriculum of Department of Education are effective in addressing DRRM. DEPT implements the comprehensive DRRM in the basic education framework which seeks to protect students, teachers and non-teaching personnel from death and injury in schools, promotes risk reduction and resilience through education, and plan for a steady educational program despite of imminent natural hazards. Conclusion: the senior high school students of Natalia V. Ramos Memorial Integrated School do not understand some disaster-related concepts and ideas, they are not prepared and not aware on the risk inflicted by these natural hazards. Low perception on disaster risks are evidently observed among senior high school students. Therefore, there is a need to uplift the level of knowledge of the senior high school students in terms of disaster risk reduction and management. In this connection, the researcher developed an Information, Education and Communication (IEC) materials that can be a great step forward in disseminating information to all students and other school personnel about the disaster-related knowledge, preparedness and readiness, awareness, and risk perception. Thank you for listening. God bless. Natalia V. Ramos Memorial Integrated School.